Hey, and welcome to the garage. The purpose of this video is I'm trying to get my OEM fuel injector sending unit assembly, and what I want to do is I want to incorporate these dash 6 AN fittings, and I got 3/8 and 5/16 to mate to the feed line and the return line of this OEM assembly. The reason why I want to do that is I want to rule out this janky rubber hose crap. It dry rots, and it's really unsafe, and I just want to get rid of. Well, the car was originally carbureted, so there's really no. I want to run the steel braided line throughout the entire car, just to eliminate this rubber crap and these fittings like this. The original car was carbureted, so it didn't really have the provisions for this pre-made hard line like this. So this is super cruddy. I kind of cleaned it up a little bit here. I think what I want to do is couldn't imagine how hard this was to break loose. I wanted to do this pre-gaming a little bit. What I want to do is I want to cut the end of this off. Use all of this straight fresh part. Now this one is the 3/8. What these are like compression fittings. Now there is I think I got these at Jegs, I believe. Alright. It's just like any old compression fitting like you'd find on any brake line or whatever, fuel line, any sort of shade tree repair. You have this little brass ring right here, and what it does is it slides over the pipe, and the inside of this is tapered. I don't know if it's visible or not, but inside of there is tapered, as well as the inside of this. Now when you put these together and tighten them down, it sandwiches that brass fitting and kind of compresses it to where it bulges out at the top, and it kind of cuts in on either side to really bite into that line and create a seal. They're rated at pretty high pressures. I'm only running 65 psi in my fuel injection that I'm putting in my Grand Prix over here, so it'd be more than enough to handle that. And what I'm doing is this came out of a V6 Monte Carlo, I believe. I got it from my little brother, so he was using it in his Malibu. And what I'm doing is I'm running TPI injection, which I know this is ancient as fuck. I mean, all these guys run the LS stuff. They're using the more updated, which is way better. It's way more tunable than this. This is sort of your rudimentary fuel injection system from early 90s from Camaro. What I do have though is dropping all these balls. Boom, stealth ram intake, which is flows a lot better than the stock sort of. You see all them little janky tubes that run around. Short runners. Really feeds it quite quickly. This was used, obviously. Worked really well. Needed to be tuned a little better. Have the chip tune, which I'm going to have done as well. But other than that, I mean, it's, as far as cold starting, it's still good. Obviously not as badass as the LS stuff, because those guys are just able to squeeze as much, far more power than this. But it's sort of like a basic thing. I kind of like it. Car's going to be more of a cruiser and stuff. And it's a simple thing for me to use. AL, DL stuff. I don't really have the capabilities to really, do all that tuning stuff with the LS, which I'm kind of getting into. I'm kind of late to the game. Stuff's been around forever. So I guess what I want to do with this is I kind of want to lop off this little nipple end. That way it'll give me more of straight area that I could really get a good bite with the fitting, and not have to, especially in this part right here, it's pretty it's like crimped for some reason, somehow or another. I guess it's from the factory. And what I'm also doing is this float is chunky. Little brass spring-loaded little slide mechanism in there, messed up. So what I'm gonna do is, and it's attached to this float arm right here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna sacrifice. I have this carbureted sending unit assembly right here. I notice it's got just your standard grip connectors right there. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to, if I can get this out, I'm just going to take that off, and take that arm out, and boom, attach it. And what it is, you just pull this little cover right here off. There's these little tangs on the back. You just kind of flip them up, pry up on them a little bit. Pop this little do gadget out, slide this little rod out, and swap them out. And that should give me proper reading on the fuel sender. And also you see like here that has a return vent. The vent I'm just going to run wherever I don't really need it, not running no emission stuff. Out here in the Midwest, they've kind of done away with all that clean air crap, which is awesome. At least until we get a Democratic president here soon, I guess. But anyways, I have this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to lop that end right there off and see if we can get a straight piece in here. All right. Did the shittiest cut job on the end of this. A little bit blurry. I don't know if you see it or not. Mega shitty, but have a file. I'm just gonna deburr the edge a little bit. Actually, I could pull this little gadget off. Deburr that a little bit. Totally have helped if I had took the rest of this rubber line out. Actually, as a matter of fact, I'm just going to do that real quick. Take this bullshit off. Hope this video comes out good because it looks kind of blurry. Almost like I'm doing this on VHS or something. Take out this bullshit. Hope it's a lot warmer where you all are. It's 11 degrees here right now. Fighting this cold, stiff rubber line here. Telling how good this stuff is. It's like no rigidity, no flex to it at all. Oh. Feel that? All right. Give me some room here. Bam. There we go there. Alright, so somebody to do a little bit of deburring. Yeah, I don't have every tool known to man, And I'm not really a mechanic by trade, but I'm sure like all of you, I've been tinkering around for some time. You know, just kind of got little garage, kind of like build little fun little cars to tinker around with. You know, it's kind of what we all do. Not trying to be competitive or anything. Just trying to have a little fun, build something that's safe. And I really like I've used these, also, I have a carbureted Cutlass, which is a standard, Edelbrock 650 carb, small block 350. And I use these, actually I used the 5/16, I think, to mate it to the existing hardline that ran all the way to the tank. I didn't want to like do no crazy stuff. It's kind of more of a cruiser car, show car, you know, kind of trying to run around. I've took it to the track a few times. Yeah, it ran mid-9s, which is an 1/8 is not stellar by any stretch of the imagination, but anyways, something like this, get some AN stuff together, you know. The best fittings ever. They don't leak. You don't have to worry about hoses cracking. I hate using rubber hose, especially on carbureted applications, because the heat under the hood causes them to dry out. They crack. You're prone to leaks. Then you gotta use those. You gotta use these hose clamps on it. I mean, look at this. I mean, isn't this outdated? I mean, look at this. It just looks duty. Whenever you can just have this, be leak free, and also, you know, I like using these because they're kind of pretty. I know a lot of people use the black ones and stuff. I don't know, it's kind of like these. It's probably tacky, probably doesn't go with anything, but I like them. So what I'm gonna do is blow that off, and let me find the appropriate size wrenches for these two right here. Okay, we have two 11/16 over here. Alright, so let's see if I can keep from losing shit. Alrighty. We have this brass ring right here. Alright, this is how we're going to do it. This is the receiving end right here, and this is going to go on this pipe. See, I'm going to crimp down on this end right here because it is a little bit, looks like somebody might have, looks factory, I guess. I'm just going to crimp down on it just slightly, just to kind of get rid of that sort of oblong a little bit. Let's see if that does it. Alright. Alright, gives me a little bit. Yeah, you don't want to use any oil or any contaminants on this, really. It's going to cause that ring to slip. And you could use oil on the threads, on these threads are used in the compression process. You could do that as long as you don't contaminate the inside here, because what you want is you want that friction. And you really want it to bite. I guess you know, I've never used oil or anything on these. I just kind of relied on that friction and the heat generated by really, you know, clamping down on this. And I've never had any leaks with it. Now what you want to do is, here, I think what I might do is put a mark on this. Sort of give me a reference of where this is in relationship to the ring. That way I don't want to push this too far out and lose any grip on the end here. So I'm sort of going to give myself a little reference here. I'll put this back on. Put the ring on here. Just kind of find out where this is. Alright, so right about there is when it's just about a millimeter or so before the ring comes out. Let's see right there, and mark the end of this right here, just to show kind of where I am, to where I don't want to compress the end of this and then have the other end of that ring on this side and not bite into that whenever I put this on, because and you also want enough material where it doesn't actually collapse the end of the tube. You want enough material there where there's enough rigidity there where it bites into the tube itself and also hits the tapering into this and really bites into it. Now, like I said, these are rated at such and such PSI, and I believe it's maybe like a 800 to 1,000 or some shit, which I don't know what you're going to be using for that, but I'm only going to be using a 65 PSI, which this would more than suffice for that. AM fittings are awesome about that, handling pressures. Okay. Bam. Okay, have my reference mark. Right, y'all. And push this down in, y'all. Right here. Okay. Right, ring is in there really good. The end of this tube is, checking it out, investigating it, it is straight the amount I need, which I can show that real quick. See, it is completely straight. See, I wanted to use as much of this end as possible because this is kind of janky and this is kind of crimped and bent there. So I'm going to use as much of this straight part as I can. It's relatively clean like I need it. And so that gives me a nice flat, round surface to really bite on, so that ring can really seat. And this can also hold true for any LS guys that are trying to utilize their stock, fuel pump assembly and this is from a G body, like I said. I believe it's a V6 Monte Carlo. The late model Monte Carlos had the V6 and the fuel injection, the throttle body injection. Did the mount? I think maybe the late El Caminos maybe had this. I know for sure, your Grand Nationals, your fuel injected Buick V6s, the late model Buicks had them, and the Monte Carlos. I'm not sure about any of the other models. I know the Grand Prix did not, because the Grand Prix got discontinued earlier than most of the G bodies to make room for the new front wheel drive models. But they still made the Monte Carlos and the Regals. The Monte Carlos and the Cutlass still were around the 88 model year. Okay. Little Q&A. Okay. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use my reference mark. Right here. See? Using my reference mark. Kind of keeping my... let's see. It's like I'm taking a video of this with a VCR. Alright. There's my reference mark there. I'm going to keep my thumb there in place. And then my ring's down in there. I can probably scoot it up just a little bit more, but I think I'll be alright. And you see the end of this. The end of this is tapered on the inside. I don't know, it's kind of black on black. It's kind of hard to see. Now I'm going to put this in there. Like that. Okay. Come on, butt munch. Alright. I'll put this 11/16 right there. Okay. Still using my reference mark there. So I might put this in a vise maybe. Okay. was going to put this in a vise, but I think for video purposes, I'm just going to wing it. Usually I would have this pressed to my chest, you know. I was trying to show kind of what to do over here. So just keep cranking down. It's obviously on this mega tight. Reference mark is still where we need it. I don't know if you can see that or not. Probably not, because I'm videoing this with a VCR, apparently. Okay. This is where it starts getting pretty hard. Just this I got. Use the table here as leverage. Now you don't have to. You're not going to be able to butt these two together. It's just not going to happen. There's going to be a millimeter or so of gap there. You just want enough to where you want to collapse that ring and really get it cinched up in there to prevent leaks. And I've used these a number of times. I've never had any issues with them. There is a Jegs brand of these, and I think I read on it, was like it's only rated at 55 psi, and I think they were like $7.99. These Earls brand, it didn't say on it how much what they're rated at, or did I believe wasn't it like 800 psi or something? I have to reread it again. It's a part number right there. This is the 5/16, and I was going to use the 5/16 vent line that's originally on the car and all that to utilize that to run the return on the fuel injection. This is 5/16, and this one we're installing is 3/8. These are $11.99, I believe, and they are. I mean, they're rated much higher. I didn't want to take the chance with Jegs. Jegs makes good stuff, but I didn't want to take the chance of because I'm running 65 psi and it's rated at 55. It probably can handle more, maybe, but I just want to take that chance. All right, dogs were tripping for a second. Let's see what that was all about. And of course, it was nothing. Now it's starting to get harder. That was this. That wasn't anything breaking. It was this line right here popping. At least that's what it felt like. Kind of startled me a little bit. I think what I might do is try to finish this up in a vise. But I am dead balls on our reference mark right here. I could probably go in a little bit, probably a little bit more. But this is essentially it. And then, like I said, it's a -6 AN. AN is so great. It's impossible cross thread. It has tapered ends on it. It just creates an awesome seal. So that's how you do it. Like I said, the same thing. This right here is the return line. I'm obviously going to have to do something different because this is smaller than 5/16. So I think what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to have to try to straighten this out as much as possible and put the fitting, the brass fitting, like right in this area right here and clean this up really good, which is going to suck, but I really want to use this. I could probably, this is the same size, a little better, a little straighter. I could probably use this also because it's just a vent line. and just take off this little doohickey here. Just pop this little cap off because it's just a vent. All this is there for is just keeping raw gas from going up to the vent tube. The tank, it's not gonna slosh around that much. I'm not gonna be doing no crazy stuff with this thing. I want to do autocross, but the only issue I would have with this would be that the fuel coming out of here would sort of like splash into the tank, maybe aerate it a little bit. It's kind of what I don't want, so I don't know. I'm gonna try to figure that out, but I'll probably save that for another video. Like I said on this one, it's basically how you do it. Whether you're running an LS or what, if you want to utilize your, an OE sending unit and assembly for your, electric, for using a stock electric fuel pump, you can use these to adapt if you want to use AN lines instead of that bullshit OE stuff. You can get these new a lot cheaper now than what you used to. The G-body market is really ramping up with available parts and swap stuff. I mean, the market is far better now than it was 15, 20 years ago when I was kind of getting into this stuff. But there you go. There you have it. That's it. I hope this video helps somebody. And hope you can get yourself on your way. Thanks for watching.